good morning to you all. So all the final year students. So today we are going to discuss about our first unit, first topic. That was nothing but the ecology and ecosystem. So in this semester, our paper that was ecology, geography and evolution. And that the first unit, first topic. We are today we are going to start it in this day. So first, ecosystem and ecology. So first today's our topic that was the structure of ecosystem. So before going to explain about the structure of ecosystem, first of all we are going to start and first we define what is mean by ecology. The word ecology that was came from, so it was mainly from the word ecology. So it was came from one of the Greek word. The Greek word it was nothing but oikos and logos. So the Greek word, the ecology was came from oikos and logos here. So oikos, the meaning of the word oikos, it was nothing but home. And logos means study. So means oikos, logos, that was ecology. The word came from the Greek word oikos and logos. Oikos nothing but home and logos nothing but the study. So the studying about the home was nothing but the ecology. That was the ecosystem. So all are interrelated. The ecology was nothing but the organisms or the interrelationship in between all the organisms are coexist. So those organisms are nothing but microorganisms and parasites and plants and larger animals and the remaining all the organisms are coexist. So in a same space, same place, that was nothing but that was considered as home. That was considered as a home. So to studying about the home, that was nothing but ecology. And the word coined by the first scientist, that was so mainly in the year of 1969, in the year of Odom, the scientist, the name of scientist was Odom. So in the year of 1969, the ecology was coined by this scientist, and he was so explained completely about the, so what is the interrelationship between the organisms and the environment. Ecology was nothing but the interrelationship of the organisms with their physiology, with their physical and biotic factors. Physical and biotic factor, that interrelationship was considered as ecology. So the definition of ecology was nothing but the organisms are interrelationship of the organisms with their physical and also with the physical and along with their biotic components. So biotic was nothing but living organisms. So that was considered as ecology. Ecology was the ecosystem means the complete environment and also to the complete organisms and environment with their communication, with their interconnection, interlinks are considered as ecosystem. So it was ecosystem was a combination of biotic factors and abiotic factors. Biotic and abiotic factors. It was a combination of biotic factors and along with the abiotic factors. So biotic factors are nothing but these were the living things, and abiotic factors are non-living things. Living and non-living things. So abiotic means non-living and biotic means living things. So we'll see what are the biotic and abiotic factors. So first, here ecosystem. It was again divided into biotic factors and abiotic factors. So these are biotic factors are again 3 times. Those are nothing but producers, consumers and decomposers. And abiotic factors are so these are nothing but soil, temperature and again soil temperature and remaining, so that was wind, air, light. So these all are thunders, all are considered the abiotic factors. So the biotic factors are the first producers. The producers are nothing but plants. The consumers are nothing but, so the consumers are again 2 times, those are 3 times. So primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary consumers, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers here. So the primary consumers are always herbivores and the secondary consumers are small fishes and the tertiary, so here the lion, tiger are considered this, and the decomposers are so first here the ecosystem was again divided into 2 factors. So it was depends upon it was a combination of biotic factors and abiotic factors. So ecosystem was nothing but it was environmental. So the organisms are interconnected with the environment. That was a combination of the unity of environment and the organisms are that was completely called as ecology and ecosystem. It was a combination of biotic factors and abiotic factors. The biotic factors are living things and the abiotic factors are non-living things. The living things are again 3 types. Those are producers, consumers and decomposers here. The producers are nothing but always the plants. So always, why? Because inside the plants what happens is the photosynthesis process takes place inside all the plants. So the greenery plants, so with the help of they can able to produce so they can able to prepare their own food material. Not only they can able to prepare, they also so they always transport the circulate the food material to the remaining all the organisms. So always the primary, so the producers are always comes under the plants. Which organisms are depends upon the producers for the food material, so those are considered as the consumers. The consumers are again 3 times. Those are primary consumers, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers here. The primary consumers are always the herbivores. Those are the blue-green algae are considered. So in aquatic media, blue-green algae, and secondary consumers are small fishes. The fishes can feed on the herbivores. The herbivores can feed on the plants. And the tertiary consumers are the larger, higher organisms. The larger fishes are also considered this, and the lion, tiger, like organisms are also considered this. So these organisms can feed on the secondary. Not only small fishes, the snakes, frogs are also considered this, and these organisms are able to feed on these are secondary consumers here. So in this way, the food chain was continuous inside the environment. The food chain was nothing but one organism can able to depend upon the another organism for the food and shelter. So for the food and shelter, one organism was depends upon the another organism. Always the producers, they can able to produce the food materials with the help of photosynthesis process. So the remaining organisms are depends upon their. That's why that was considered as a food chain. So it was resemble like a chain system. So a chain system means always inside the environment and the ecosystem was stability for the maintenance of stability inside the ecosystem by the so for that reason all the organisms can able to going to die. So one organism can feed on the another organism, prey and predator mechanism. So with the help of that what happens is the excess of organisms are reduced, excess of organisms are washed out in the environment. In that way what happens, the environment was the ecosystem was stably maintained, that was survived. So for the surviving of all the organisms, they can keep balancing of all the organisms. The food chain was they can plays a major role. So inside the environment, inside the ecosystem, the food chain was nothing but. So see here, always the number of producers are always higher in number. See here. So these are the producers and so the primary consumers and secondary and tertiary consumers are less in number. So now the tertiary consumers are somewhat so lesser in number. See here, always the producers are always higher in number. So the producers are nothing but always plants, and the primary consumers or depends upon the producer for the food material, and the secondary consumers or depends upon the food for primary consumers, and the tertiary consumers so depends upon the secondary consumers for the food material. So the number of the organisms are going to be decreased. See, it was double like a pyramid-like structure. Always the producers are somewhat 100 number and primary consumers are somewhat 70% and so these are 50% and tertiary consumers are somewhat only 20 in number. So the number of the organisms are going to be decreased up to the increasing of so these increasing manner of so these consumer producer level to the consumer level actually, and decomposers are also there. The decomposers are nothing but the fungi. So these are decomposing bacteria and fungi. They can place a major role in the environment ecosystem because all the organisms are going to die. If the completion of a lifespan, all the organisms are going to die at the end of their lifespan, and after completion of those dead and decay organic matter that was going to be converted into the useful nutrients with the help of these decomposing bacteria. There is no decomposing bacteria, then what happens is all the dead and died organisms are going to make they can make harm to the environment. To overcome the problem, what happens is the decomposers can play a major role to reduce that was going to convert the harmful substances into the useful nutrients. So if any organism was going to be die, immediately the decomposing bacteria are going to be developed there. Those bacteria can feed on that died organism. Then immediately what happens is so those dead and decay organic matter was gradually that was mingled with the soil, and immediately that was converted into the useful nutrients with the help of these decomposing bacteria. So that's why the biotic factors are always three times. Those are producers, consumers and the decomposers. So the producers can play a major role in the environment. That's why because those are the primary organisms. Always the producers are the primary organisms. So the plants and the organisms, animals are interconnected. So one organism was depends upon the another organism inside the ecosystem. So that's why these are considered as the biotic factors. Bio means living. So living things. Abiotic means non-living things. So these all are interconnected. So the abiotic factors are soil and temperature and wind, air, light, thunders. So these all are sunlight. All are considered the abiotic factors. Those are non-living things, but they can make a great impact on the living organisms. The abiotic factors are so they can make a great impact on the living things. Biotic factors all are interconnected in the ecosystem. So it was concerned the structure of ecosystem. And if we take so in these topic, we are also having the ecosystem and the types of ecosystem, that was aquatic media and terrestrial media. And in these aquatic media are mainly the main organisms are mainly, so these are considered the aquatic media. That was so in aquatic media what happens is always the blue-green algae are there, and so in aquatic media what happens is at the time of conversion of food chain, what happens is producers or the primary organism, from the producers to the consumer level, what happens is always the producer, the consumers can feed on the producers. If the aquatic media become going to be polluted with the help of different types of the chemicals or any other, so those levels are higher in producers. So then what happens is the type of toxic substances are going to be circulated to the producers, to the consumers to the decomposers level. Those are any other the food material, or why? Because the consumers always depends upon the producers. That's why if the producers become toxic, then what happens is such type of toxic substances are going to be circulated throughout the food chain. That phenomena, so then what happens is some of the chemicals are going to be elevated, those are so excreted from the each and every organism naturally, but some amount of the toxic substances are going to be deposited inside the body of the organisms. So at that time what happens is if the toxic substances levels are increased inside the body, then what happens is if the toxicity was increased, then that was going to be become, the phenomena was considered as a bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation means those all the substances are going to be accumulated inside the body and they may not be going to be so excreted out. So this is today's topic. So today's topic was completed. I am going to stop here now. So it is about it was completely about completely about the structure of the environment and the structure of the ecosystem was completed, and so functions of ecosystem is there, and the types of ecosystem, that was comes under aquatic and terrestrial level is also there. So we will meet tomorrow. I am going to stop here.